This father had given up his job and left his son at daycare before rushing to an adoption agency, hoping to find someone else to raise him. When the staff found out, they were stunned. How could a father be so irresponsible? But then the man said something that left everyone in silence.
I don't want him to think about it, to understand death.
It turned out he was terminally ill. The doctors had given him less than 3 months to live. He was terrified that no one would be there to care for his son, and that's why he made the painful decision. The staff, now full of sympathy, handed him the adoption paperwork and gently guided him through the process. Before leaving, he only wanted to spend as much time with his son as he could. As a single dad, John always felt like he hadn't given his boy enough. Other kids had piles of toys. His son played with kitchen bowls. One day, the little boy picked up a half-finished yogurt John had left on the table. John snatched it away immediately and sternly warned him not to eat anything he had touched. He was scared of passing the illness to his son, but the boy didn't understand. He just thought his dad was suddenly being mean. Soon, the agency introduced the first potential adoptive family. They were well off, kind on the surface, and promised the best education for the boy. But John noticed they already had a biological child. Though the man promised to treat both children equally, John couldn't shake the worry. What if my son gets sidelined in that home? On the way back, John gently asked his son if he wanted to live with that family. The boy replied softly,
I like them.
That simple sentence pierced John's heart like a needle. He wished more than anything he could stay and watch his son grow up, but he knew he didn't have much time left. The next morning, as he dropped his son off at school, the boy suddenly asked, "Why does everyone else have a mom, but I don't?" John thought about telling him the truth, that his mother had abandoned them both. But in the end, he just said, "Mommy went somewhere far away. She won't be back for a long time." John truly loved his son. Even as his body got weaker by the day, he kept telling bedtime stories, taking him on walks, soaking in the sunlight together. Though just 3 years old, the boy was incredibly thoughtful. When John fell asleep from exhaustion, the boy would cover him with a little blanket. And when John woke up, he'd carefully bring him a warm cup of water and quietly curl up beside him. But the pain reminded him time was running out. One sudden headache made it clear. He had to secure his son's future, and soon. Then came a second adoption opportunity, a middle-class couple who hadn't planned to have kids but wanted to try parenting. The husband even brought a plush bunny as a gift. They seemed thoughtful, until the goodbye. The wife gave her husband a subtle look, and he took the toy back. John noticed it all, and his heart sank. He turned around and walked out with his son. On the way home, the boy asked, "What's adoption?" John's throat tightened. He finally said, "It means, if daddy isn't doing a good enough job, maybe someone else will be a better daddy." The boy didn't reply. He just kept walking along the white lines on the sidewalk, fighting to hold back his emotions. One morning, John tried walking along the sidewalk lines too, like his son always did, but his frail body could barely stay upright. And in that moment, he understood. His time was almost up. The third family had several kids, many of them adopted. They promised fairness and love. But John noticed one of the children cursed constantly, and another treated his son harshly. His boy looked at him, scared. This time, John didn't hesitate. He said no. But he still didn't know how to explain death to a 3-year-old. Then one day, his son spotted a dead beetle on the ground. "Why isn't it moving?" he asked. John didn't make up a story. Instead, he said, "Its soul flew away. Only the body is left behind." The last potential parent was a single woman. She wasn't wealthy, but she clearly adored children. She gave the boy a handful of candy and helped him load it into a toy truck. There was something so gentle in the way she treated him. And for the first time, John felt hope. As they left, John saw a school-aged boy boarding a bus alone, his back straight and determined. And in that moment, John understood. His son's life was just beginning, while his own was coming to an end. On his 32nd birthday, his last, John and his son made a cake together. They placed 32 candles on top. Then, suddenly, his son brought over one more. John froze. He knew he wouldn't live to see another birthday, but he also knew what that extra candle meant. It was his son's way of saying, "I don't want to say goodbye." That night, as he watched his son sleep, tears silently ran down John's face. Memories played in his mind like a movie reel, but reality was cruel. He had only a month left. There was no time to wait. He gathered his final strength and asked the agency, "Can you help me find Mike's birth mother? Maybe she was the only one who could truly give him a future." But when the staff finished their investigation, they uncovered a shocking secret, one that would change everything.